Thank you very much. So good morning, everyone, and so welcome to this session on Haligi of Change. I'm Jeremi, so as they were saying, and so I've been entrepreneur for over 15 years, but if I had to choose a title, I'm more like a developer. This is really what I prefer to do. I'm humbled to be invited here to be your keynote speaker, and I hope I'll be able to live up to it. There is an excellent lineup of speakers, and I hope you're going to enjoy these few days here together. As mentioned earlier, so I'm here with Edwin, my colleague, along with some colleagues, Ed and Michael, where we're working together to build OpenSPP. So it's an open source social protection and farmer registry platform deployed all around the world. But today we want to explore how Python can act as a Haligi, a pillar, driving digital transformation and social impact across the region. So two concepts, right? So the first one, sorry, I'm a little bit tall. I don't need to stand, sorry. Let's start with the title, right, of our talk, so Haligi. As I forgot, Cyrus, sorry, was explaining, Haligi is representing a pillar, right? But the way to support structure. And much like a solid Haligi, I think Python supports countless of innovations, of projects and communities. Another Filipino word that I learned recently that is quite interesting is bayanihan, if I pronounce it properly. And so it's a spirit of communal unity, like neighbors lifting a home using bamboo poles to relocate it. Everyone shares a load and celebrate together. It's an inspiring example of how collective effort can accomplish what no single individual can do alone. And in our digital era, especially today with everything happening, I think the sense of bayanihan is more needed than ever. And in my hometown, where I'm from, so I'm from the center of France, like the countryside, they have like something similar. So we're not able to move the houses because the houses are like so much more heavy. But people are getting also together, and here in this case, they got together, like nearby villages, got together to build a bread oven and helping each other so that they can, everyone then can cook fresh bread or pizza whenever they want. So one thing to know is that this old oven need 2 days to heat, right? So you need to plan before you want to do your pizza or your bread. But yes. And so I think it's really the spirit of the community, and I think like more than I think a lot of other communities, I think Python is really into this community of sharing, and I've known also the founders of the PyCon PH and the Python groups here, and I think they've been doing a lot of work on creating the community and making it a welcoming community, and I think this is really represented like this. And I hope everyone together, we're going to celebrate Python this 2 days or 3 days. Oops, sorry, too fast. Okay, so what I'm going to talk about is digital public goods, and we're going to work on defining it, and digital public infrastructure, and how does it relate to Python. So let's talk about DPI. So basically, what I'm going to talk about is things that are at country scale, right? So how do countries build infrastructure for the country? So basically, DPI, digital public infrastructure, think of the equivalent of physical infrastructure. So you have roads, you have railway, you have power grids. They provide essential backbone for daily life, right? And DPI, digital public infrastructure, is the same, but in the digital world. So it includes a foundational service like identity systems, payment platforms, data registries, and interoperability services that anyone can build upon it. So when DPI is built on top of open standard and inclusion, in mind, it can drastically accelerate innovation and economic growth. For instance, if a country has a digital ID system, like it's being built here now in the Philippines, that is secure and widely accepted, opening a bank account, accessing government services directly become much easier for millions of people. But okay, like I've tried to explain so many times, like digital public infrastructure using roads and power grid and waterways and everything, but we're developers, so like it's hard to explain like this because you don't get all the nuances. So let's try to explain it like as code, knowing that it's concept, right? It's not code like this, right? I'm working on concepts. So basically, like when a government want to build something, they're going to use digital solution, right? Either they're going to build custom or they're going to buy something, right? But what you can do is, for this digital system, you can use a digital public good. And what is a digital public good? It's basically a digital solution, so it's a software. It can be in any language that is open source, but more than this. It's an open source, and it's validated by an organization called the Digital Public Good Alliance. So it has documentation. There is some certification around the standards they're using, so open standards. And also, they're going towards the sustainable development goals, right? So they have some goals in how to improve life of people. And so this digital public good are then going through a validation process by the Digital Public Good Alliance that are verifying all these things. So there is many digital public good, and actually Edwin is going to talk a little bit more about this later. Then this digital public good can be used to build services in a country. And so identity service, so one example as a digital public good is MOSIP. And it can have a license, so Mozilla Public License, for example, and can expose APIs, right? So verifying users and things like this. And then there can be another one, like what we do, for example, like OpenSPP, which can be the social registry service, right? That is going to expose other API. And when this is all instantiated, right? So think about it like, so as a country, if you want to build your digital public infrastructure, you will take this proprietary software, open source software, digital public goods, configure them, install them, create the governance around it, because it's not just about software, right? It's also about everything that goes around it. Work on the interoperability layer and instantiate it to create your digital public infrastructure. So if we're talking in the Philippines here, you have e-field ID, they're working also on the CRVS. There's many services that are here to communicate, exchange information, to be able to better provide services. And then these services are exposed differently. They can be exposed within the government, some APIs exposed within the government, some to just a subset of partners, and some to the whole public, right? Then to be really a DPI and to be confirmed to be a digital public infrastructure, and so to make sure that you have the value of DPI, right? Because DPI is not like any digital transformation, right? As we were mentioning before, there is some characteristics that make it a DPI, which is interoperability. I think it's very important for things to be interoperable, right? So you can build other things on top of it, right? And it can be the government building on top of it, it can be companies, it can be individuals building on top of it. So you need to have the interoperability, you need to have open standards, you need to have inclusivity, right? So because one issue I see often, right, like especially like we're techie people, we're living in cities, we're living in developed places, but we need to think that it's not the case of everyone, right? So as developer, we also have the responsibility to think about the inclusivity of our solutions, making sure it's working also for people who are not as digitally literate as us, and we're not always living in urban areas. That's usually also designed to scale, right? Because you need to scale to population size. And it needs to be interoperable, technology agnostic, right? So you need to have APIs in, any type of APIs and standards. And so then this infrastructure, and I'm just going to give an example, but there is so many that can be, and like you can build your own on top of it. So if we're taking like a social protection type of example, let's say you're DSWD, you want to provide for a service, for a program, right? Then you would build your system on top of this other system, right? So when someone comes, you can verify the identity. So you're going to use eFill ID to verify the identity. Then you would get information about the household of the person, right? So you would get the social registry to get the information from there. And then if you would ask maybe more information, and then you check if they meet the criteria. If they meet the criteria, then you distribute the entitlement, right? It can be cash, it can be in kind, it can be many things. Or you can also suggest alternative things. So this is just an example of how this can be done. And going a little bit more into the Philippines, and I guess here, who has their eFill ID? The ID? Only? Okay. National ID, right? Like the new one. Okay. Okay. Yeah, that's not the number I have here. So the official number, but okay. You need to go get it. So now that we try to explain a little bit about the national ID, right? A real world use case is in the Philippines, so we talked about the eFill ID, and at least the numbers are good. 90 million Filipinos are registered, so that's 97.8% of the target population. So I don't know, maybe we have only the ones that did not register here. Oh, good, good. And you have the card version, so you're one of the lucky one. Yes. So yes. So and maybe that you don't know is that eFill ID is basically built on an open source software. It's built on open source software called MOSIP, and it's a platform that is being deployed in many countries. And you can actually contribute to MOSIP. So it's not Python, sorry. But you can contribute to it, and it's being used here. And so it's a perfect example of using digital public goods to build digital public infrastructure. And actually, in 2 weeks, they have their annual conference here in Manila. So yeah. And while I think the rollout hasn't been without challenges, and I think we can see it here, there's still a backlog of issuing physical cards, but the government has adapted by offering the digital eFill ID version, right? So you can go online and you can get your eFill ID. I think you can print this card directly online by entering your registration number, and then you can use it, and it's supposed to be as strong as having the physical ID card. And I think this flexibility demonstrates how digital systems can evolve and can change depending on their different problems, the different hurdles they see. And one of the good things out of this project, I think, is the government has partnered with the Land Bank to offer instant bank account opening during the registration, and it created 8 million people who were before unbanked Filipino to have a bank account, right? So getting access to the financial world. So it's quite interesting, and this synergy of open source identity plus the private sector, I think, is a perfect example of what we can do and how we can help move things forward for some people. Quickly also, one of the other core things of digital public infrastructure, so you have the identity, you have the registries, but you also have the payment system, right? As you're building, if some of you are building software, you're building like startups, you need payments, right? And 10 years back, it was quite difficult to be paid. It is getting much easier now, and in the Philippines, you're lucky, I think, to have things like Gcash and Maya, which is key component, that's usage of the DPI infrastructure under, but that's key component of it. Sorry, I'm lost. This e-wallet basically have transformed more or less like an all-in-one financial platform. And thanks to BSP QRPH, right? So you can use a standardized QR code and use it to pay anywhere, right? So you don't have to have like a QR code for every bank, a QR code for every mobile money, sorry. And this is based on a standard, right? So BSP has accepted it, and it's based on the Europay, MasterCard, and Visa standard. And I don't know here, but like I'm living in Thailand, and so for example, we have similar things, and like now you can also do cross-border payment with it, right? So I can go to Laos, and I think they're starting also with UPI in India to pay in other countries with the same account. And so basically that's not only for people living in cities, but that's also for people living in a remote area. Now I think, as we were talking with Edwin, we have people even like in the remote areas, like small vendors, jeepneys, now they're accepting digital payment using this. And this is possible, not just about technology, right? Because technology, especially at this level, is not enough, right? It's also about the regulation that was created around it and trying to make it a level playing field from Banco Central Filipinas that ensures interoperability, right? Pushing everyone to be interoperable and consumer protection, right? And this is key features of digital public infrastructure. And so according to BSP, 96% now of the government transaction by volume are now digital, right? So making it easier. And so another example, and usually like if you followed a little bit about digital public infrastructure, that's the example that is always given. So I'm gonna go quickly over it, but like that Aadhaar and UPI, this is like the poster child of digital public infrastructure. It's Aadhaar, so it's the world's largest digital identity system with over 1.3 billion people enrolled, layered with UPI, the payment system, which process nearly 10 billion transactions monthly. So, yeah. And so the combination of these systems have allowed many startups, to build services that could do services that were not possible before, or that were not commercially viable to do before, thanks to instant KYC, faster payment, and accessibility of microloans, right? So, and so basically UPI and Aadhaar have provided Python API to integrate so people can innovate without dealing like all the complexity of doing KYC, proprietary protocols, and everything. And that's the multiplier effect of DPI. Another one is Singapore, and I think I heard some people from Singapore earlier around. Is I think SingPass, and SingPass is another one. Nearly everyone has it. If you've been in Singapore, and you can use it also again similar to prove your identity everywhere. You can get access to around 2,000 public and private services, taxes, insurance, and also like it fueled some innovations, right? So it's very interesting to look at what they're doing because I think for the Philippines, it's going to come as like e-fil ID is getting like now deployed. You remember 98% of the population, so we're good. You will be able to provide more services. You will be able to leverage it to build things. And so the multiplier effect, basically by having this building blocks, as a country, it's having strong DPI and DPGs make it faster and easier to build solutions, right? Benefiting everyone from large company to individual developers, right? And as at the beginning here in the Philippines, I think that it's just opened a lot of opportunities for you as developers. I know here also a lot of people are trying things, are building things on the side. So I think it's a lot of opportunities and you should definitely look into this. So one word of caution, right? Because as developer, it's nice technology, but we also have responsibilities, right? And with great power comes great responsibilities also, especially when handling like things like identity, payment, and personal data. And so there is a Philippines Data Privacy Act mandates user consent for every e-fill ID verifications. Similar for ADARs, there are very strict rules around the use of their things, and ThinkPass has also strong cybersecurity standards around this. And as developer, we need to design with privacy and security, right? By design. So privacy by design, making sure consent. Okay, so another very important point, and transparency around what is being done, and robust security, right? Like data breach, sorry, can erode public trust overnight, right? It's you're spending months and years to build something, but like you can lose everything and all the trust with data security issues. And one other thing is, remember, as we see here, actually, not everyone has a national ID, right? And it's going to tend more people to be in the city, urban areas that will have it, right? But like we want to be able to serve everything. So we need to provide alternative systems and also include the most vulnerable population. And this is probably where also there is a lot of opportunities providing services to them, also helping them bringing this into this economy. So we need to think about how we can do to include them. And for some use case also, so it's good, you can use e-fill ID now to verify identity, but maybe sometime it's better to not ask for it. Maybe sometime it's better to not store this information, right? Because remember, the most secure data is the data you don't store. So if you don't really need it, probably don't store it. And also, I don't look forward to a world where we have to prove our identity everywhere, right? Hopefully, it's not where we are going toward. And as developer, it's our responsibility. Like, it's not just the others, right? And like, we are the one in the end, like building things. So it's our responsibility to ensure that this system build and incorporate these safeguards from the ground up. Privacy by design, robust security, and user consent. It's not just regulatory requirements. It's also essential to building trust in this digital system. So now I'm going to leave it to Edwin. I'm very fortunate to work with Edwin on OpenSPP. He will get deeper a little bit into digital public goods, and yeah, your turn.
Thank you, Jeremi. Yeah, good morning. So I'm Edwin. Well, obviously I'm a Filipino. Have you seen aside from yourself, have you seen, if you are in a work from home, are you a work from home person? So for those who are not, 10 years from now, this is your picture. No, just kidding, just kidding. Okay. Okay. So I'll be discussing some more information about digital public goods. So Jeremi presented some information about DPI and DPG. Let me just add more to the information. I know some participants doesn't like to see tables and charts. So just to present this in a simplified manner, so let me just present some statistics. So across 39 countries, we see the deployment of 80 DPGs, okay, in the Asia-Pacific region. So serving as the backbone for digital transformation in government services, healthcare, education, and financial inclusion. What's even more exciting is that 30% of these 24 DPGs were developed within Asia Pacific, showcasing the region's growing capability to build and scale open source solutions. So this isn't just about adoption, it's about contribution. 21 countries in APAC are actively developing and sharing DPGs, reinforcing a culture of collaboration and innovation. So let's take a look at more information about this by the numbers. So as mentioned a while ago, 21 countries contributing DPGs to the region. So top deployment countries is India with 46 DPGs, Bangladesh with 26 DPGs, Philippines with 25 DPGs has been driving digital inclusion across sectors. Indonesia with 24 DPGs. So they continue to integrate open technologies into public services. Nepal, maybe in terms of size, smaller than the Philippines, but they do have 19 DPGs. Okay, so these numbers tell a compelling story, not just of technology, but impact. Each DPG represents lives improved, barriers removed, and opportunities unlocked. So, but the question now here is, where do we go from here? So we do have this. We have them in papers published as statistics. So the future of digital public goods in Asia Pacific isn't just about scaling numbers. It's about deepening their impact, strengthening collaborations, and ensuring that these solutions are accessible, inclusive, and sustainable for the long run. Together, we are not just building technology, we are building a future. So what are the challenges that these DPGs address? So we have here, number one is healthcare. So healthcare is the most targeted sector. These solutions support everything from telemedicine to digital vaccine registries, strengthening public health infrastructure, and improving access to care. Healthcare is under the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals, or what we call SDG number 3. SDG 3 ensure healthy lives and promote well-being for all at all ages. The next is education with 19 DPGs. This is under SDG 4, ensure inclusive and equitable quality education and promote lifelong learning opportunities for all. Third is governance. This is, again, under the United Nations Sustainable Development Goal, or SDG. This is SDG 16. Promote peaceful and inclusive societies for sustainable development, provide access to justice for all, and build effective, accountable, and inclusive institutions at all levels. And the fourth one, reduce inequalities. So there are 16 DPGs. Okay. This is under SDG 10. SDG 10 is reduce inequality within and among countries. So this 16 DPGs addressing systemic inequalities, whether through financial inclusion, accessibility tools, or digital rights initiatives, ensuring that no one is left behind in the digital age. So as we move forward, the challenge isn't just in creating more DPGs, but in ensuring that these solutions remain accessible, sustainable, and adaptable. Okay. So let's focus our attention now on Python-powered DPGs. So now, as Python developers, we often ask, how can my code make a difference? The answer lies in digital public goods. Okay? Some 20 years ago, I started having this sort of a vision and trying to involve myself into open source. Later on, I'll be presenting my personal experience with open source. So across APAC and beyond, Python is at the heart of some of the most impactful open source solutions tackling real-world challenges. So let's take a look at this Python-powered DPGs. The first one is OpenSPP. As mentioned by Jeremi, OpenSPP was developed by our team. So I have, of course, Jeremi is basically the mastermind. He is the architect of OpenSPP. And with me are my co-developers in the audience. Okay, they're a bit shy. So OpenSPP was built with Python and leverages Odoo's. Are you familiar with Odoo? Yeah, Odoo. Yeah. Okay, so leverages Odoo's modular framework to empower governments and non-government organizations in delivering social protection programs efficiently. There are four major components of OpenSPP. The first one is SPMIS. It provides the essential building blocks for program implementation, offering a modular design that integrates seamlessly with existing systems. So basically, we started with the SPMIS as the main application. And it evolved. Now we have the social registry. It serves as a centralized repository for managing data, used in planning and administering social protection and public services, supporting intake, dynamic registration, and secure data sharing across programs. For those who are not familiar with social protection, Filipinos are very familiar with DSWD, right? And during the pandemic, we received our, what's that? During the pandemic, you received your 5,000 peso, what do you call it? What's the term that we use there? I forgot the term. Ayuda, yeah. Ayuda, okay. Then we have Farmer Registry. It facilitates mass registrations and ongoing updates of farm holdings and owners. So this is more of social registry, but focusing on farmer and farm information. We're targeting the end of the year to release our disability registry. We're still in the process of developing it. So it will systematically manage data on individuals with disabilities. Okay? So OpenSPP's impact extends beyond just being a digital solution. It is already transforming lives on a large scale. Our biggest implementation is in Iraq, where OpenSPP efficiently manages millions of beneficiaries, ensuring that social assistance reaches those who need it most. In the Philippines, we recently piloted OpenSPP for the DSWD 4-piece program. I guess Filipinos are familiar with that. The 4-piece program, that is where your taxes go. Streamlining beneficiary eligibility and compliance through innovative self-reporting mechanisms and the use of OCR and OMR for recording the attendance of the children of the 4-piece beneficiaries. I mean, attendance in deaf ed schools. Yeah, because their 4-piece entitlements are based on whether their children are still in school or are still attending a school or not. Okay. Beyond that, we are actively implementing OpenSPP in Sri Lanka to support the fertilizer subsidy program and Lao PDR to enhance their farmer registry. Next, we have ADIS. This is actually also developed here in the Philippines. It is an AI-powered dengue outbreak prediction system. I think we really need this now. There are reports of dengue outbreaks here in Quezon City. Not to scare everyone. But I have my off lotion there if you want. Okay. Then we have Rapid Pro from UNICEF. It's a two-way communication platform for non-government organizations. So basically, it's a Python-based messaging platform that enables government and NGOs to engage with communities via SMS, WhatsApp, and other channels. Okay? And then CCAN from UK is an open data platform. It's one of the world's leading open data platforms. Okay, so governments and organizations use it to publish, share, and analyze public data. So, well, each of these DPGs started as an idea written in Python and is now actively shaping lives. So, future opportunities, the path ahead. We've seen the impact of DPGs across APAC. We've explored how Python's powered solutions are transforming lives. But the work doesn't stop here because the future of DPGs is what we build next. Okay? So these are three key opportunities where we as developers can make a difference. The first one is localization. So we can adapt existing global DPGs to local languages and contexts. In the Philippines, we have so many dialects, right? If you're not aware of that. So in my province, in Nueva Vizcaya, we have, I think, close to 10 different dialects. And one is now considered extinct. Okay, so the last person who speaks of that dialect died 2 years ago. So it wasn't passed to the new generation. Okay, so localization, capacity building, develop technical skills to create more locally originated DPGs. Sustainable funding, create models for long-term maintenance of critical DPGs. So these are opportunities, future opportunities for us as developers. Let me share my journey in open source development. So, well, imagine building something that not only solves a problem, but grows beyond what you ever envisioned. That's the magic of open source, and exactly what happened in my journey. So, I started as a university janitor, no, a teacher in a university. I cannot use the term professor because professor needs to be awarded. So a teacher, okay, for 15 years. So I started. I developed a research paper and part of my academic pursuit. But the deeper I went, the more I realized its potential outside the classroom. So I presented this research paper in 2 IT international research conferences. So in Thailand, in Bangkok, and also in Hong Kong. So the recognition was great, but what really mattered was a realization that this wasn't just a research, it had the power to help people. And from there, I developed an open source hospital information system and an electronic medical record system. So it was built with open source tools. Okay. I started developing this using OpenERP. If you are familiar with OpenERP, Odoo is actually OpenERP. The original name of Odoo is OpenERP. So if you are going to Google that, then you will see how young I am. Okay. And I enhanced it using Odoo version 10, making it a more comprehensive hospital information system. So it took me 3 years to develop that, and I started working on it 15 years ago. It is being used now by several hospitals. I started with a very small hospital, and now it turned into, it's being used by large hospitals now. Okay. Okay, so an interactive thought exercise. So imagine every municipality equipped with open source flood monitoring software. How many lives would be saved? How might it transform daily life? So can you imagine that you as a Python developer would like to contribute or start working on a project like this? So what problem will you solve? What impact will you make? So why Python? Well, most probably the Python developers already know this. So low learning curve, resembles English, the syntax resembles English, inclusive design, global community. There is a case study, if you're not familiar with this, the Kerala Rescue mobilized volunteer Python developers during floods, creating a life-saving platform in just 24 hours. So this is one example of how powerful Python developers are. So some technical advantages of DBT development. Okay, let me skip this. I think you're familiar with all of this. I was able to speak with a data scientist a while ago. So some real world impact. Okay. Yeah. So let me now give you Jeremi again to continue our talk. Thank you.
Thank you, Edwin. And so again, yeah, just to finish quickly, right? I think what are the opportunities, right? Because we talked about a lot of things. I mean, things about government and things are a little bit boring, but I think it's important to understand the ecosystem there is, so you can understand also what you can do and what are the opportunities for you as developers. So I think the first one is contribute to existing digital public goods. I mean, so in the Philippines, there is two that are built here. So like OpenSPP, most of the team is here. I think IDES is also here, being built in terms of AI. And contribution to open source is not just code, right? Like there is testing, there is ideas, there is documentation, there is a lot of things. So you don't have to be a developer to be able to contribute to open source projects, right? And it's also a good way to learn. I mean, actually, like this is how I started my journey, is like working with open source, and like you're learning a lot contributing to projects. And I think Python community is quite a very welcoming community. You can so build new ones if you want. If you find problems you want to solve in your communities, at the country level or across, build new ones. Build businesses around it, right? So I mean, the DPI we mentioned earlier, they're here to build things. It's not just for open source and for goods, but it's also to build businesses, right? So you can leverage them, and I think it's going to become more and more available to do this. Actually, here at Ateneo, they started the TRL, so Technical Resource Lab. I think Joben is doing a presentation tomorrow at it, and I guess also everyone knows Miki, I guess, in the community. And she's the lead now of this, so like I think you should reach out to her if you have things where they're going to help also with leveraging this digital public infrastructure. So build things, try things. I invite you to connect with these people and engage with the community, right? Like, I mean, I think there is a good community here in Python, so engage with them, help them organize the local communities. I mean, I don't know, in Cebu, I remember they had like a I mean, now it's pizza pie. No, how is it now in Cebu? I forgot. They were like durian before, but it was too expensive, I think. So they switched to mango at some point, I remember. So yes. And again, like keep in mind the local context, right? Because a lot of tools are being built in countries that are not the Philippines, and there is also a lot of things to adapt it to the local context of the Philippines, the local constraint of the Philippines. So very quickly, because we ran out of time, it's Haligi, so I think that pillar of support, and Bayanihan, the spirit of collaboration. And I think from what we've seen, I think when we have a strong, open, and inclusive digital public infrastructure, digital public goods, we can enable innovation for millions of people. So, and I think PyCon can stand at the center of this. So I leave you to it today. I hope today you're inspired to explore how you can leverage these tools to try to do some changes, to try to do some improvement, building new things. And each of us has something valuable to bring to the table. Thank you very much. I think we're short on time to do Q&A. Okay, we have 2 minutes. So if you have any questions, we have 2 minutes.
I actually have one. Hi,
Yes.
I'm here.
Oh, yes.
I actually have a lot of questions, but since we're short on time, I'll just ask one. So you mentioned about DPGs. Where can we see like a registry of all the DPGs that are in the different countries? Because I'm not really familiar with a lot of them.
Yeah. So I think in total there is like 190 certified DPGs. There is a website called digitalpublicgoods.net, if I'm not mistaken. They have the registry, and you can see, you can search by region, you can search by SDGs, what you want, and so you can pick and choose from this list, yeah. Okay, so I think we're good. Thank you very much, and I leave you with a lot more code. I think a lot more technical sessions and a lot more code, so enjoy.